Hi there, it's Carl Irwin, the Common Magician, with the final video in this short series on slug control and basic table riffle shuffle controls. And we're looking at the application of the most basic types of shuffling, table shuffling controls to control a slug of cards that can be applied in Magic. And part of the point here is that you can use the most basic approaches and only those and do some good magic. What we're going to talk about today, though, is how to elevate the use of that method, not by adding additional methods, but by adding subtle details that in and of themselves are not really methods, but they certainly exponentially increase the value of the methods that you're using. So let's just look at the original trick that we used as our demonstration from the very beginning as our example here. So what I have is I have the cards sitting in the box ready to be removed. And this may not seem like much of a method, but it is a detail that improves the method considerably. The cards are not really in the box, and it really wouldn't matter if they're seen to be in the box. They seem to be in the box kind of in a haphazard way, slightly sticking out. The tab is sitting on top. The idea, though, is that even if this was seen from a bad angle, it wouldn't matter. It's out of sight, out of mind. It's not really a conscious issue, right? They're sitting in the box. This matters because of the final reveal that the audience, the spectators, have in the back of their mind a recollection that the cards came out of the box. We're not making a point of the fact that they're in the box. I'm not going to say I'm taking the cards out of this box and the box is empty. I'm just setting this here in preparation as a minor detail that will be recalled at a subconscious level at the moment of the kicker ending. Okay, so here was the effect. We have the box sitting here with the cards inside, and inside of this box is a shell, which is the little kicker that we're going to use at the ending. And you see the bevel that the cards have, and again, the tab is sitting over the top, just to kind of imply that the box is sitting there. I'm giving coverage on the side, but this is such a minor detail, but it has a great deal of impact. Do I have to do this? No, I could have the box sitting there and have the cards out. But the fact that I remove the cards from the box at the opening has a significant impact on the effect. In a previous demonstration where I was looking at controlling a slug in the hands, I made a short video on that previously, one of the last ones, and a comment that came up was I had to rewind, I had to go back to see if you even shuffled the cards because I couldn't remember they couldn't remember if I had done it. Well, the reason why was because the shuffle actually wasn't relevant in the demonstration that I did. It really didn't matter if I had shuffled the cards for that situation. I could have, in that situation, just left the cards sitting on the table and gone on with the demonstration. It really wouldn't have made a difference for that context. In this context, it matters, right? So context is important. One thing you want to remember when you're working with like a stack deck, maybe a mem deck or a deck stack, the subconscious shuffling of cards is important to the method, but not necessarily always essential to the trick that you're doing. But it is important at that subconscious level, right? If there's no need to call attention to the shuffle, then it is a throwaway situation. When do you need to call attention to a shuffle? When you're doing a gambling demonstration and you have to point out that you are shuffling the cards and you are obviously, however not apparently, controlling them in the midst of the shuffle, right? That's the one time when we say, everybody look, I am shuffling. Otherwise, when we shuffle cards, we often don't want to point out the fact that we're shuffling cards, and it can be a forgettable moment, and that's kind of the best case scenario in the application of a shuffle. So just keep that in mind, that not all shuffles are equal. Not all shuffles are done covertly. Sometimes shuffles are done overtly and done on purpose with attention called to it in the proper context, such as in a gambling demonstration. All right, so this might be kind of one of those situations where the shuffle is irrelevant. We don't actually have to shuffle the cards for this demonstration because of the secondary level of choice. We're going to have a layer in this example where the spectator cuts the cards. You could go straight into that. Technically, I could have the cards sitting like this with the box closed up. I could have the cards sitting here. I could do nothing in the preparation of the trick, in the setup. I could just say, could I have you cut the cards approximately halfway? They cut. I hold the break there, and then I go on with some story, right? That typical time misdirection, and then I come back to this, and we look at the first 5 cards that they cut to. And then we write down the numbers that we get, and then we do the reveal. That could be the trick. However, we can elevate the trick with the details. The details can really get us a long way. Okay, so without continuing to belabor the point, I think it's just important to recognize the what ifs, right? Those hypotheticals with respect to what is the trick and how could it be presented. It could be presented the way I just showed you. And it would be, at face value, the same exact effect. However, with these details we're adding, plus the control shuffle, it elevates the trick significantly, right? So, detail. We have the card sitting there in the box so that I can come to the box. I can apparently remove the cards and set them there and set the box aside. And now we are going on to the next detail, the next level of detail, which is the shuffle itself. Completely unnecessary. I don't actually need it for the trick. But in this context, it's going to elevate the value, the production value, if you will, of the effect, right? And we talked about this shuffle. So in the basic form, we cut off half to one side. We shuffle maintaining our stock. And then we reverse the shuffle to the other side, maintaining the stock again. We can give it a false strip, right? Double undercut, false strip. We can double undercut, and then we can cut fairly from this place, which puts us back in the same situation with our stock on top. And now we add the secondary level of deception, which is actually, with respect to the bare bones of the trick, is the primary deception, which is this, where we have them cut, or we could have it forced out any other way. But now I've elevated my trick so much, right? Now we have a box that is empty subconsciously. I didn't draw attention to it. We have a deck that is shuffled subconsciously. Even though I am drawing attention to it, in this case, such as I would with a gambling demonstration, it's not a necessary thing. Then we have spectator choice, which is a secondary level of deception, and it's a hands-off kind of choice. And all of this other stuff actually elevates this force. If you're a person that's worried about something like a crisscross force or a simple kind of riffle force or something like that, all of the other things that we've done, particularly the shuffle, coming into that, it actually increases the value of that very basic application of a force, right? And then we have our situation here where we have our cards. And we ask the question, if these number 77345 means anything to them, we take the pad and we can put the number down, right? We can ask the question if it means anything and say, well, actually, from your perspective, it's something a little different, right? Maybe, does that mean anything to you? And then we have the kicker reveal on the end, which is this box, which was empty. Cards were in the box. They don't remember that they weren't perfectly in the box. You just can call back to, remember, we took the cards. You don't have to really mention it, but if you want to, if you really want to make a point of it, you are justified now because you took the cards out of the box and you went through that detail at the beginning. You're actually justified in making mention of it. And the card box where we took the cards from earlier, we actually have a shell, right? And there's the trick. So just a couple of layers, and this is all very simple. There's nothing difficult about this trick, but it does have pretty high impact value. There's a lot going on, even though method-wise, there's really only one method being applied that is hands-on, and that is the maintenance of the slug at the top of the deck, right, in that riffle shuffle. So a couple of riffle shuffles, maintaining the top slug, the top stock, false cut to, again, maintain it. And then outside of that, we do the crisscross force, which is a hands-off force. It's something they do. It's a discrepancy force. And then we have the little details that we've added on here. So as you're constructing tricks, you can increase the value of very basic sleights, very basic table riffle retention, a retention of a slug, by keeping in mind the details leading up to and leading out of the trick. Make the fact that you have to do, or that you choose to do, I guess is more correct. Make the fact that you choose to do the stock retention less relevant by adding layers around it. Again, the trick doesn't require it. I didn't have to do that, right? I'm doing it because it increases the value of the effect. And then by doing other things around it with respect to detail, it increases the value of the method that I'm applying, which is a method that isn't even required for the trick, if that makes sense. So really analyze, what is it that makes the trick work? Consider the details you can add. Consider how a false shuffle or a retention shuffle can increase the value of an effect, and apply it. So that's pretty much what I have for you on this simple little series on using a basic table riffle stock retention shuffle and how it can be used to do not only tricks like this, but you could do as I was demonstrating earlier and on some other videos, how you can apply it to some fairly robust gambling demonstration type routines and effects. So that's what I've got for you on the series. Good luck with that and happy magicking.